Hello, MGMA of Greater St. Louis. I'm Derek Weisbrod. I'm the president-elect for the MGMA of Greater St. Louis. I'm actually here at the Missouri State MGMA Conference. Ran into our friend John Motazedi, and he is our speaker for the July webinar. And he's going to be talking about Windows 7, Windows Server 2008, and what's going on with the changes around that. You want to help us with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, absolute pleasure. Good to see you again at this event. Always a pleasure to be here at MGMA, and this is what a beautiful setting. We're going to talk about Windows 7. Of course, if you guys had not known, Microsoft has announced the end of life for Windows 7. It's one of the quickest operating systems that kind of came and went. If you take a look back to the days of Windows XP that was around for 13 years, this one is kind of an anomaly because it's not going to make it 13 years. So Microsoft has already announced an end of life for Windows 7 and the 2008 servers. And as typical IT guys and working on with these things and new technologies, we always know when Microsoft stops supporting it, it's time to move on. The challenge we're going to talk about is some of our electronic health records and some of the software that we're using are still very dependent on Windows 7 and 2008 servers. So we're going to have a back and forth about the challenges, the issues, discussions about Windows 7, a probably budgeting and planning session for Windows 7s and how we can actually migrate out of those things. All the typical things that you kind of need to know now. Because come January of 2020, it's going away. There is really no keeping it. And we need to make sure that all of your practices have their things together and doing things appropriately.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we also provide IT services just like you guys do. You're out of the Joplin area, right?
Correct. We're in the Joplin area. We have about 150 mile service radius. But this is becoming a kind of a challenge because everybody typically waits to the last minute. So when we had the Windows XP issue that occurred, we had people that were literally weeks before the software going off. They were basically now trying to address it. Our goal is to make sure you guys are taking action now, not in December of 2019. It's time for action is right now, time for budgeting is right now, and we could kind of work on a phased approach on what's the best way to migrate to some of these things. And then all the testing and everything else that needs to go and the discussions you need to have with your EMR vendor needs to be had, and we're going to try to arm you with all of those important things at the webinar, and hopefully that'll give you guys a kind of a leg up and be ahead of some of your competitors.
Yeah, and along with Windows 7, which is what our end users experience, there's also Server 2008.
Server 2008
may not be as visible to
exactly.
end users,
2008
right?
is another big one that's going away as well. Again, a lot of the old electronic medical record applications are actually still running on 2008. So there's some big challenges with migrating that. There's cost associated with migrating to the new version of the software. And again, we're going to discuss all of those. We're going to kind of give you some things to consider for that migration, and then the things you should kind of be aware of.
Yeah, because being in medical and serving a lot of physician clinics and everything, we really understand how their financial cycle works. And January is about the hardest time for medical practices to come up with capital projects.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, they're also the busiest because everybody at the end of the year is trying to get in their deductibles in place. So staff gets busy, doctors get busy, and so this is something we want to do second quarter, third quarter. We don't want to push this all the way to the fourth quarter, and that really becomes the key. Is you got to plan for this stuff. It's coming. It's going to happen. Microsoft has already said it's happening. They're not pulling back. They might give you options to pay a substantial amount of money to get additional support. But if you're going to pay money to keep support, you might as well pay money to actually move to newer, better stuff. So that's going to be the discussion. Looking forward to actually talking to a lot of you guys and reaching out and having this dialogue. And then we might even have a Q&A. Perhaps, and we'll have a Q&A towards the end of that conference call or the webinar, and we'll make sure that we get all the answers taken care of. And again, looking forward to it.
Well, I always enjoy your talks, and I'm really looking forward to this one.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
taking
Absolutely.
time out of your conference to help talk to our community.
Absolutely enjoyed it. Thank you.